Hello, it's Rachel. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm doing my October wrap up. I've done a few stats today. So my reading month went as follows. I read 5 books. 3 were by female authors, although one of them was by Robert Galbraith, who is J.K. Rowling, her pen name, so I've counted him as a female author. I read 2 male authors. I read 3 thrillers, 1 graphic novel and 1 ghost story, and it totaled 1,352 pages. So the first book that I want to talk about is the graphic novel I read, which was Death on the Nile by Agatha Christie. It was a nice short read for me, just as part of the Spookathon. I needed a few short books just to get me through so that I could bump up the numbers a bit. I did enjoy the book, but I am still not used to reading graphic novels, so it took a bit of getting used to, and I was finding I was having to constantly flick back and see where I was and who all the different characters were, because they'd drawn them in a way that a lot of the women looked very similar to each other, and I found it really difficult to keep track of who was who. But I think if I practice reading a few more graphic novels, I'll probably start enjoying them a bit more, so it might be something that I might do over the coming few months, just see if I can get into them, because I do quite like them once I get going. That was a good one, and I would probably give it 3 stars out of 5. The next book was another short one for Spookathon. It was The Furthest Station by Ben Aaronovitch. It was my pick that had purple on the cover. Another nice short one, so it was less than 150 pages. It was the ghost story that I read for this month, and it was very, very funny. I really enjoyed the humour in it. It was very sort of sarcastic, and it actually made me laugh out loud a couple of times, which is quite rare with a book. So I did really enjoy the writing, and I know it's part of a series. I think if you look on the inside cover, there's like 6 other books, and I have seen Rivers of London mentioned on BookTube before, so if they're all nice and short and easy like this one, I might pick up a couple of the others and read them, just to bump up my numbers, if anything, because it was really funny and I enjoyed it. I would give it a 4 stars. The next book I read was Final Girls by Riley Sager. This is a thriller set in Boston, I think. And the main character is called Quincy, and she is the final victim that was the only survivor as part of a murder spree that she was involved in. She was in on a weekend getaway with some friends in a cabin in the woods, and they all got stabbed to death, and she was the only one left alive, and it follows her story and how she becomes almost friendly with 2 other final girls who are in a similar situation to her. They survived these massacres that they were part of. I really enjoyed this book because as far as horror movies go, I really enjoy a good slasher movie. Things like The Omen or The Exorcist, they don't really frighten me, and I don't know why. I like things where there is a guy running around with a knife trying to kill people. They're just the types of movies that scare me. So if you like movies like Scream, you'll probably like this book, because this is basically Scream in book form. So because I like that kind of movie, I thought this book was fantastic. I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed all the twists and turns. I didn't see the end coming. So really liked this one, and it's a 5-star read. My 4th book was Peter Swanson, All the Beautiful Lies, which was my Spookathon read for a book not set in the current time period. This was set between now and another time, so there were 2 timelines going on. I really enjoyed the writing. The relationships in the book were the thing that sort of made this book. Normally with thrillers, the characters, they're okay, but you're more trying to just find out who did it, and that's kind of the exciting part of it. As I really enjoyed the characters and the relationships between them in this one. And because there's two timelines, you always kind of enjoy one story more than the other. And I found that I enjoyed the story from the past more than the current one. So I was always sort of racing through the bits that were nowadays, wanting to get back to the bits about Alice while she was a child. But all in all, it was a really, really good read. Again, didn't see the finish coming, which is always the point of a thriller. You never want to know what's going to happen at the end. And the writing was faultless, so it's another 5-star read. Brilliant. My final book is another Robert Galbraith book, which is the pen name for J.K. Rowling. I have here Lethal White, which is the most recent one, because I've given back Career of Evil, which is what I read last month. I read that before the Spookathon started, but again, they're all really chunky books, so it kind of took up the rest of my month. I did really, really enjoy it, as much as I've enjoyed the other two that I've read, and I've started this one. I'm about a quarter of the way through and enjoying it just as much. It's brilliant writing, brilliant characters. You just can't help but like them. I have a bit of a literary crush on Cormoran Strike, who's the main character. But it was a great book. Starts really interestingly anyway with Robin, who's the secretary, coming into work and signing for a parcel, and when she opens it up, it's a severed leg that's just been posted to her. So that kind of opens up the story. You don't know who the murderer is, you don't know who the leg belongs to, and that opens up loads of questions. But again, it's another one where you just really, really love the characters, and I think almost the plot becomes secondary in a funny kind of way, even though it's the main point of the book. You're rooting for the characters more than anything, and there's this whole sort of will they, won't they relationship between Robin, who's the secretary, and Cormoran Strike, who is the private detective who's hired her. And oh, you just want them to get together, but I'm on book 4 now and it's still not happened, but I'm hoping. So, but yeah, another 5-star read. So this month was brilliant for reading. I think nearly all of my reads were 5 stars. Even the ones that were 4, I probably could have given them 5. I didn't really fault them. They're probably only a 4 just because of my tastes more than anything to do with the writing or the story. So all in all, a great month, and that was mainly down to Spookathon, because I do love my thrillers, and that's basically all I read this month, and I think I'm probably going to be doing the same for next month, so looking forward to it. And I look forward to hearing if any of you have read any of those books. Leave comments down below, and I look forward to hearing which thrillers you enjoyed this month.